Hello everyone, it's Danica from the Saskatoon Public Library. Today I'm here for story time for grown-ups, and I'd like to welcome you to Treaty 6 territory. It's a place where people have gathered to listen and tell stories for more than 10,000 years. So today I've brought along some poetry from the territory, some Saskatchewan poets that most of these are people that I know and I hold very dear. And so I'm going to just read you a few pieces. So the first poems I'm going to read are from the book Somewhere Else, and this is by William Robertson. And this was published by Cotto Books, and sadly, Cotto Books, it just ceased being a very, very short time ago. But it has published so many incredible books of Saskatchewan poetry and stories, novels, all sorts of wonderful things. So this is from Somewhere Else by William Robertson. Something I tell my son. There was that precise moment, me, rigged out in hat, holsters, caps, cracking angrily in a pair of gleaming, pearl-handled six-shooters, and most of all my stance, the formidable foe I'd been for over 10 years now, at the absolute height of my powers, ruthless and moral as television westerns, blasting away from Mrs. Fernquist's hedge when a classmate and two girls stepped into the crossfire, shot me a look that took years off my life, my cheeks burning beneath peach fuzz I noticed that night, cursing myself in the mirror, my life so uncertain I wanted to leave, town at sundown, come back, a grown man, suit, tie, the alcoholic tang of aftershave, a gaze like the sights of a gun. And this from the same should have said, lean out of my desk and slap Larry across the aisle. He tries to slap me back, misses. I sing, na 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 na, boo boo. Linda, with eyes hard as the furnace room door, in a voice with the same dull heat, tells me to grow up. I want to tell her I'm 14. I'll be a man in 4 more years. Then I'll be a man till I die. So give me 4 more years of growing, slowly singing, na 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 boo boo. I open my mouth to say this. Don't think of it till I'm 36. Say instead, ah, 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 as the heat rises in my face like mercury in the thermometer strapped to the side of the furnace. Ah, 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 ah. So next I have some poets from Brenda Schmidt's book, A Haunting Sun. And this is published by Thistledown Press. And I've known Brenda for a long time as well. And Thistledown Press is, if you drive down 2nd Avenue in Saskatoon, you'll drive right past the office for Thistledown. And Brenda is also a painter. And so the poems in this book, A Haunting Sun, they are inspired by a fictional character in J. Preston Murdoch's 1905 novel, The Sunless City. And so they talk about art and painting. This place is just a picture. Thousands of people live in the 6 colors I squeezed out of metal tubes, their stories watered down, absorbed by soft red sable. I painted their mouths shut. With broad strokes they became black spruce, tamarack, bedrock, billions of years old. Those who hate me are set free. In murky rivers, those who love I trap in stagnant swamps. Those I yearn to be become sky, changing after every wash. It dried this way. And setting fire. Sun cuts between the forest and the walls, setting fire to the color day embraced. Night came and held me. Remains still smolder under a pile of ash. A stick lies broken nearby. In the dark, my mouth is closed. By a hand, I learn how to hide in painted trees. Next I'm moving on to The Crooked Good by Sky Dancer, or Louise Bernice Half. Now this is another book published by Cotto Books, and Louise Bernice Half, or Sky Dancer, is an incredible elder here in our community who brings such beauty to different events where she often opens it up with a prayer or a blessing. And she always brings wise words, and so I find wise words and beautiful words in her poetry as well. The Promise. When your big heavens slumber, the lightning sears, and thunder caresses the prairie, I'll enter your sleep, not land, nor water, wind, nor fire, rock, nor bone, tooth, nor file. Not a fisherman's net or dream catcher can impede my good grace. Some of you will say, but I never dream. I will be in your barren walls, wide-eyed or in your folded sleep. I will be waterborne, the shadow in your paradise, the fantasy in your nightmares, the sorcerer in your illusions, the magician in your desire. I will harvest your bed. Many of the poems in this book, The Crooked Good, also have Cree words in them, but I haven't chosen any of those for you today. This one is called Snow Snake and Wings. I watched Snow Snake stand on a platform of feeding flames. She did not burn. I stood by the bonfire. A raven and eagle wing quivered beside her. Fire licks, jumps, leaps, throws itself around them. Two old ones observe, beckon me to come. They smudge me with a white eagle feather. Fire smothers the wings. The old ones lift the wings, present them to me. The wings shake and whisper. She has a strong back, much movement. She needs big wings. They attach themselves to my wound. The next book that I've chosen for you is D. Hobsbawm Smith's book, Wildness Rushing In. And there are many poems in this book that are landscapes that I'm very familiar with because I lived close to the same small community where she also has her post office box. So this is a book published by Hagios Press, Wildness Rushing In by D. Hobsbawm Smith. And I'll read you a few of her poems now. Bennett's Garage. We stop for gas, pull off the endless highway, swab our foreheads, hoping for ice cream, to push back the waves of heat radiating from the blacktop. A beaded curtain rattles on the door, a screen banging loose against the frame as we cross the broken sill into a spell-like silence. The ice cream counter is cool dark, its blackboard list gray and smudged. On the newspaper shelves we find evidence of life in 1943. Abandoned typewriter ribbon uncoiling like the snake I saw in the hills, its carbon tongue flickering. A color print, Victory Bond girls, faded, cardboard with a thumbtack through their V, framed by metal license plates, painted numbers cracked, and a snap of 4 Air Force boys, wedge caps askew, their careless years not yet flown by. They grin from the washboard walls. Beyond the counter's open window, old man Bennett's parchment feet are bare, propped up on his desk, his work boots and socks tangled on the floor, a snore caught in his throat. We pick out dusty bottles from the cooler, lay our cash on the counter, and the door slips into hush, memories' cobwebs closing in. As we emerge into heat, flinch at the roar of traffic on the road and SUV's blare of raucous hip-hop, a glossy, semi-swerving grit past the garage. The unexpected. Tonight the water is quiet, sky skimming the surface with ducks and geese. Yesterday there were waves and wind pushing from the southwest as you pulled east to where I waded in the faded yellow grass, looking for early crocuses. We envisioned what I had glimpsed as a teenager, living briefly on this farm, lake of sky, lake of land, touching like lovers ready to begin again. We did not expect a flood, nor life beside the water, in the midst of dryland prairie, with frogs and ducks singing gondoliers' harmonies as we drift to sleep. Well, that's all I'm going to share with you today, but I would encourage you to explore the poetry of Saskatchewan. So again, today I read from Wildness Rushing In by D. Hobsbawm Smith, The Crooked Good by Sky Dancer, Louise Bernice Half, A Haunting Sun by Brenda Schmidt, and Somewhere Else by William Robertson. Thanks for sharing your time with me.